I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in miracles. That's the bold philosophy of a guy whose life story, quite literally, defies the odds. I mean, picture this. You walk into a foreign country, you barely even speak the language, and then within a decade, you're shaping its national industrial policy, advising its prime minister, and picking up one of its absolute highest honors. Sounds totally made up, right? Well, it's not.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the wild, extraordinary life of Maurizio Bragani. He built this massive empire, not just by churning out physical cables, but by forging these invisible, high-stakes connections across borders, businesses, and politics. I'm super excited to guide you through this one, because as you'll see, vision, raw grit, and the sheer power of relationships can literally change the world around you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Back in 2021, Bragani was awarded the Order of the British Empire, the OBE, for his massive contributions to business and society. But honestly, the how of it is what's truly staggering here. He actually had the title conferred on him directly by the Lord Mayor of the City of London at the historic Mansion House. And why is that such a big deal? Well, in the nearly 700-year history of the Lord Mayor's office, no Lord Mayor had ever personally presented an honor to a citizen, not once. That job traditionally goes to the Lord Lieutenant, so this was a historic first. It was this crazy convergence of circumstances, mutual respect, and, well, as Bragani himself would say, maybe just a little bit of divine intervention.
Section 1. Wiring the United Kingdom, Connecting Italy and British Capitalism. Now, to really get how he rose to the top, we've got to rewind to his business roots. Bragani figured out pretty early on that his family's cable business, Tramfectos, desperately needed a foothold in the UK market. But you're probably wondering, and trust me, this is something people ask him all the time, in a modern world where literally everything is going wireless, why on earth would you dedicate your life to manufacturing physical cables? Well, his answer is just brilliant. Wireless is only as good as the wires behind it. And honestly, that hits the nail on the head. It's the core metaphor of our entire explainer today. Think about it. Who powers the servers? Who actually carries the data behind the scenes? If you rip out the cables, our whole modern wireless society completely collapses. Those invisible, physical connections, they're the foundation of the whole shebang. But as you can imagine, building those connections was far from easy. Just look at this timeline from June 14, 2012. Get this. It was actually Bragani's wedding anniversary. In the morning, everything's great. He signs his massive deal to buy British Cable in Manchester. The ink is dry, paperwork is done, but then at 7:30 p.m., right as he touches down in Italy to celebrate his anniversary, his phone rings. It's an unexpected call from the Vice President of British Telecom. Out of nowhere, BT announces they are not renewing their contracts with the Manchester factory. Boom. Just like that, the entire acquisition was completely dead in the water. Bragani quickly realized this wasn't just some bad luck. This was a corporate blockade. The British establishment simply did not want an outside family dominating their cable industry.
Section 2. A seat at the table. Entering the British system. Most people would have packed up and gone home after that 2012 corporate blockade. Not Bragani. He completely pivoted. He enrolled at Cass Business School to figure out how the system worked from the inside. And it paid off. By securing private dinners with heavy hitters, including Prime Minister David Cameron, he wasn't just, rubbing shoulders. He was actively writing national policy. He pushed hard for fiber-to-the-home infrastructure, warning them that the UK was lagging dangerously behind the rest of Europe. He advised on the Safer Structures project, and perhaps most impressively, he actually sparked the creation of a massive state fund to subsidize UK cable production. He basically looked the government in the eye and said, if you want a green energy transition, you absolutely need the domestic cable infrastructure to back it up. And they listened.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Bragani's new insider status gave him a front-row seat to high-level political strategy. Take a look at this comparison. He watched top political strategist Jim Messina make the exact same fatal miscalculation in two totally different countries. During the UK's Brexit referendum, Messina took a massive structural debate about EU membership and turned it into a personal referendum on Prime Minister David Cameron, and we all know how that ended. The Remain campaign lost. Fast forward later that same year to Italy. Messina is running Matteo Renzi's campaign for Senate reform. Same playbook, same mistake. He took a complex structural issue, Italy's rigid legislation, and made it all about Renzi. Failed again. Bragani saw firsthand that you can't just copy and paste an American political formula into Europe and expect it to work.
Section 3. The Italian Campaign. Fighting for Principles.
Despite all this crazy success in the UK, Bragani's heart was still tied to his homeland. So in 2018, he actually ran for the Italian Senate to represent Italians living abroad. He threw himself into this grueling international campaign, but But here's the wild part. He went into the race pretty much knowing he was going to lose. So why put yourself through that? Well, for Bragani, some battles are purely about principle. He saw this massive wave of populism rising, and he felt this deep moral duty to stand in its way. He wanted to look his daughters in the eyes and tell them that when the storm hit, he didn't just sit on the sidelines. Or in his own words, I did what had to be done. He fought for his beliefs, and honestly, that takes some serious political courage.
Section 4. Diplomacy in a Crisis. Bridge Building During COVID-19.
That intense drive to serve really got put to the test when he stepped up as consul of San Marino in London right as COVID-19 turned the world upside down. While everyone else was locked down, his network went into absolute overdrive. He sourced 20,000 highly coveted masks from China for San Marino. And when Italian customs blocked the shipment, because remember, San Marino isn't in the EU, he didn't take no for an answer. Actually, scratch that, he did the unthinkable. He loaded those masks onto a private plane, flew to Rimini, and hand-delivered them himself using a diplomatic state car. He also pulled strings to get FFP2 masks to the port of Genoa to keep it from completely shutting down. Oh, and he co-founded YouStay UK, a software platform built from scratch to help European citizens navigate the whole post-Brexit residency nightmare in Britain. And he did all of this without making a single cent of profit, just helping out.
His consul gig also landed him at the COP26 climate summit up in Glasgow, which created this incredibly fascinating visual contrast. Picture this. On one side of the room, you've got these massive global superpowers, all represented by a single head of state. And then on the other side, you have the tiny Republic of San Marino, fiercely holding on to its centuries-old tradition of having not one, but two captains regent leading them at the same time.
And that unique setup led to this brilliantly unscripted human moment right in the middle of all this stiff diplomatic protocol. The Prime Minister of Luxembourg was introducing the two captains regent to U.S. President Joe Biden, and he explains that San Marino actually has two heads of state serving these 6-month terms. Biden was visibly floored. He literally yelled out, "Ave Maria, Ave Maria," and then just grabbed a phone, completely breaking protocol to snap a selfie with them. I love that story. It's just a great reminder that even at the very top of the global food chain, a little human connection and some humor still cut right through the noise.
Section 5. Nothing is difficult. The architecture of a bridge builder.
So, how does one guy navigate the cutthroat worlds of business, politics, and diplomacy without completely losing his mind? Well, the crucial point is his framework. Whenever he hits a wall, Bragani leans on 3 super simple but deeply profound pillars: patience, perseverance, and prayer. He doesn't try to force things to happen. Instead, he just relentlessly engages with reality. He knows that building genuine relationships based on actual trust, not just what you can get out of someone, is the real secret to lasting success.
His whole worldview basically boils down to this super powerful Latin maxim from the preface of his book, Nihil Difficile Volenti. Nothing is difficult for those who truly want it. It's this rock-solid belief in human determination, mixed with the faith that if you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, the path is eventually going to open up for you.
Which leaves us with a critical question for you to chew on today. Think about the obstacles standing in your way right now. Are you trying to just smash your way through them, or are you actually trying to understand the system from the inside out? How can you take Maurizio Bragani's relentless, relationship-driven approach and use it to forge genuine, game-changing connections in your own industry? Seriously, think about it, because the invisible wires you're building today, they might just be the exact things that power your greatest success tomorrow.